another edition of Chalk Talk from the Denver Pioneers, our very first for men's lacrosse in 2022. My name is Tyler Maun, joined by the head coach of the Pioneers, Bill Tierney. Coach, it's so good to see you. What's going on? How are you?
Great, Tyler. Thanks. It's good to be back to something somewhat normal.
I was going to start by asking, how normal is it this offseason? Last offseason, you're getting into practices in the fall. Couldn't even have guys in groups of more than, I think, 5. So you're practicing like in shifts, and guys are all in their little pods, and it was the weirdest type of practice schedule ever. How normal was this offseason between, recruiting, getting guys back on campus, getting practice done and accomplished in the fall, and now getting into the start of this season?
I was looking back on the schedule, and I think the last time before this past Saturday when we scrimmaged Hopkins, the last time I did a pregame speech in our locker room was like March 5th of 2020. So just that alone, having the guys in there together, ready to go, the pregame jitters and the kids, some kids with different music headphones, and it's a vibe, it's a feeling, it's a consciousness that that is hard to duplicate in other things of life, and especially hard when you're doing like last year we had to do groups of 12 going out on the field pre-game, and so there's so many things that remind us of normal. Are we back to normal yet? No, but we seem to be on our way.
Getting there, which is kind of the first step in finding normal again. And Coach, as you said, you had a scrimmage this past weekend against Johns Hopkins. We'll talk about that today. We'll talk about your upcoming regular season opener against Utah, which is set for Saturday at 1:00 Mountain Time in Salt Lake City. As always, a massive thanks to all of our supporters and alumni and everybody else who tunes into our Chalk Talks week after week. You finally do get a chance to get your guys out there this week in a game-ish setting, in an exhibition game against another ranked team in Johns Hopkins coming into the season. You had over 1,700 people there for a preseason exhibition that doesn't count in the final standings, which has got to feel pretty cool. Take us through what Saturday was like. I mean, from the whole vantage point, getting a chance to see your guys out there, getting to have fans back in the stands at Peter Barton Lacrosse Stadium. What was the feeling on Saturday against Hopkins?
First of all, thanks to our grounds crew and the guys. As you know, we had a couple of snowfalls last week, and having that field ready, and then Nico and his staff just doing everything that they always do to make us feel comfortable. It was real game-like. Everything wasn't. The only thing that wasn't game-like is we weren't in our game uniforms, but we wanted to keep it up on the scoreboard. We wanted to, just make it the national anthem, make it as close to it as we possibly could. And as far as a scrimmage goes, it was pretty much what the doctor ordered, what we wanted to get out of it. We made a lot of mistakes. We made a lot of good players. I thought it helped us coaching wise. We got into some situational type stuff. We played a lot of people. I was trying to count the other day. We played something like 32 people in the first half. So, it was good, and Hopkins is always a great opponent. So to see some of those positive results and then now have film on some of the things that we didn't do well is really a bonus.
Coach, I got to watch the majority of the first 3 quarters, and it looked like you've got guys out there who are veterans that Pioneers fans are going to be very familiar with coming back for 2021-22. Jack Hannis out there, Jack Thompson had a great start to the day in between the pipes for your team. Between the guys who are back this year, who you anticipate playing big roles, and some of the newcomers this year, give Pioneers fans kind of a little indication of what's to come in 2022.
First and foremost, it's what our hope is, and what happened on Saturday is we've got a senior group of guys who, yes, you have your Jack Hannas, you have your Alex Simmons, you have your Teddy Sullivans, you have, some of those guys who have been so instrumental, Alex Stathakis for us over years now. And, but the thing so far that I've been most proud of is this senior class. Ellis Geis, Johnny Morocco, Riley Curtis, these kind of guys that have been here and have been good players for us, but I think, and knock on wood, I think they've gotten to this point where, which happens a lot with seniors, is, you know, he's 70 years old. He can't beat us up. He yells and he yells. And so that doesn't change anything. And you know what? We're out here to have fun. We're going to graduate from college pretty soon. And why not? Why not make that extra effort? Why not come to practice hard? Why not go to the goal a little bit more and take some chances, because it's our senior year. And I tell my teams every year this, you have all the fun and games those first 3 years, but you're always going to remember your senior teammates, your senior classmates, especially, and your senior season. So I've been really impressed with the attitude, the work ethic, and the leadership that our whole senior class has brought to the table. The good news is we scored 14 goals in regulation the other day. And that's great right now. And that'll be great all through 2022. When we're having this discussion next spring, it'll be, hey, last year against Hopkins, 13 of our 14 goals were scored by seniors. So what are we going to do now? But we're going to enjoy that for the time that we have. And it's interesting, if you look at our first 15 or 16 guys, they're fifth-year guys, they're older guys, they're experienced guys. And then we have a lot of young guys. And I thought our young guys got in there the other day, and, first taste of Division I lacrosse, really. Noah Manning's a freshman, Josh Carlson's a sophomore, Nick Kelly's a freshman, Jimmy Freehill's a freshman. So we got all these guys that are going to be the names that you remember 2, 3, 4 years from now. They got their first taste, and I thought it was a good combination of that. You mentioned Jack Thompson. He hasn't missed a beat. Jack, what I always ask of Jack, and if you could take a snapshot of Saturday's scrimmage, it would be exactly what I ask of Jack. Get everyone that you should, make 2 or 3 great ones, and understand that a couple of clunkers are going to go by. He made 10 saves, gave up 6 goals. Two of the saves he made, he had no right making. He just made phenomenal saves, and 2 goals got by him that were a little bit that he would want back. If we can get that out of our goalies for the year at a 60% clip or even more, we'll be in great shape there. I liked our clearing game. I like what Matt Brown and Eric Adamson have done with our offense, mixing a lot of people in, and we alternated first and second attacks in each of the first 4 quarters, all 4 quarters. We did some things that defensively that we're trying to change what we look like a little bit. And, we made a lot of mistakes. And turned in good teams like Hopkins going to turn those into goals. So we've got a lot to work on this week, but I'm proud of the effort, and I'm pretty satisfied with where we're at right now, knowing full well that the next one counts.
And it does. And you are on the road for week 1. You'll get a chance to square off with the Utah team that'll play host to the Pioneers coming up on Saturday in Salt Lake City. And Utah played you tough last year. And that's a program that has taken over the mantle now of the westernmost D1 men's program in the country. And they're starting to build something there out in Salt Lake City. When you guys evaluate what the Utes bring into this first matchup, last year, I think you went into halftime. That was a 1-goal game. That's a tough program already over there. How do the Utes stack up in 2022? And for you guys going into this week, getting into the routine of game week, how exciting and invigorating is that, especially kind of knowing that, we're getting to something resembling normalcy when it comes to athletics this year, and you finally get to do it again?
Yeah, well, there's a lot to like if you're a Utes fan. I'll tell you that. They have everybody back from last year, and they've added at least three that we know of, big time players. There's no scout on it, so it's going to be very much like last year, where our first 5 opponents were teams that had not played a game. And they had scouting reports on us, but not us on them. And so it'll be a little the same. They have brand new coaching staff. And so they're going to have a total different style of play. So it's it's a challenge. It's a challenge in that we don't know. We've never been to Salt Lake City, and so there's a lot for us to work on this week. Really concerning about us. We know we're going to have to make adjustments during the game. We have a general idea of how Coach McMinn likes to play, but we know they'll be improved. We were down 3-1 at halftime last year. I think it was 6-6 at one point going into the fourth, and we pulled one out with a much more experienced and talented front line than we have right now. Although I have said to the team and to anybody who's asked, we've never had more depth as we have now. We've just got to be confident to use them and make sure that we do our best with a lot of guys.
All right, Coach, final point for you on this inaugural edition of Chalk Talk here in 2022, to get back at it for another season and to be able to have a team that goes in with such good depth. What excites you most about this team this year? You get back into a normal Big East Conference schedule. You're not playing, the 10-game schedule against all of your conference opponents twice. You got a relatively normal non-conference portion of the slate. To be back in this role in 2022 with a much more usual structure to the schedule and with a roster that's exciting, what are you most fired up about for this year?
First of all, I'm excited to be alive and still coaching, at 70 years old, and so thankful every day for Matt Brown and John Gallant and Eric Adamson and the rest of my staff. And I've been so blessed, Tyler. We've known each other for a while now. I don't say that enough, but that does excite me, and I've always said that, if I have these kind of butterflies on Monday of the opening game of my 41st season, then I should keep doing this thing. But with that in mind, I think it's about this year more than any, maybe it's about understanding and being thankful for the strength and courage that our team has come through this whole pandemic with. These kids, there's never been, and I say this all the time in recruiting, other than war times, there's never really been a group of young people that have had so much to bear when it comes to playing college athletics. The pandemic, the social media, the expectations of coming into a program like ours, you get everybody's best effort. All that stuff makes it really exciting. And I know our guys are going to be, to be excited to get going this week. And that's what gets me going as well.
Can't wait to get it rolling. Coming up on Saturday, the Pioneers and the Utah Utes, a 1:00 face-off for that one out in Salt Lake City. He's the head coach of the Pioneers, Bill Tierney. And Coach, can't wait to see you back here next week to do game number 1 at home. And thanks so much for the time today.
Thanks, Tyler. Great to see you again.